Welcome to the Explainer. You know, building wealth can feel, well, really complicated. But what if it didn't have to be? Today, we're unlocking the secrets to doing just that by distilling the big ideas from a modern finance classic.
Yep, we're diving into Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And look, this book, it's not your grandpa's finance guide. It basically throws out the old, boring rulebook and gives you a super direct, no BS program for building the kind of wealthy life you actually want to live. So Ramit kicks things off with this pretty provocative question. And you might be thinking, what's he getting at? Well, his point is that when it comes to money, we get distracted. We chase the sexy stuff, like trying to find the next hot stock, while we totally ignore the simple, kind of boring strategies that are what actually build lasting wealth. Okay, so let's dive right into section 1. Why do so many of us feel like we're just failing with money? Well, Ramit argues it's not entirely your fault. And he's got a really interesting take on why. He makes this amazing comparison. He says we treat our money almost exactly like we treat food. Think about it. We obsess over these tiny, tiny details, the financial version of debating kale versus spinach, but we totally ignore the big wins, the basic habits that actually get results. And all this stuff, it just creates this massive information overload, right? We're basically drowning in a sea of financial noise. Countless articles, conflicting advice from experts. And what happens? Total paralysis. We get so overwhelmed that we end up making the absolute worst choice you can make, doing nothing at all. And you know what happens when we do nothing? It breeds this really dangerous cynicism. Ramit calls it victim culture. It's where we start making jokes to deflect how anxious we really feel, treating our own finances like a hopeless punchline. Yeah, we tell ourselves it's totally out of our control. We build up this wall of excuses that stops us from ever taking that first crucial step. But Ramit's message here is really simple and it's powerful. It is time to stop blaming the situation and start taking control of your own journey. Okay, so how do you actually break that cycle of doing nothing? Well, Ramit has this really powerful mindset shift he talks about, and it's all designed to do one thing: just get you in the game. He calls it the 85% solution. And the idea is, well, it's pretty simple. Getting something 85% right today is way, way better than waiting around for that perfect plan that, let's be honest, you're never going to find. Forget about finding the 1 in a million best investment. Just get started with a good one. So why is just starting so important? What's the big deal? It's because starting, it unlocks the most powerful force in all of finance: compound growth. I mean, this is where your money starts making money for you, and then that money starts making even more money. It's incredible. Time, not timing the market, is your single greatest asset. And this chart, wow, it shows you the insane cost of waiting. Just look at this. Smart Sally, she invests for only 10 years. Dumb Dan invests for 20 years. That's double the time. But Sally ends up with more than $60,000 more. The only difference? She started a decade earlier. That right there is the mind-blowing power of just getting started. All right, so we're talking about saving and investing. Does that mean you have to say goodbye to everything fun? Do you have to stop buying lattes and basically live like a hermit? No, absolutely not. And this is a huge part of Ramit's philosophy. It's not about being cheap at all. It's about being intentional with your money. And this leads to one of his best ideas: conscious spending. Here's how it works. You figure out what you absolutely love spending money on, and you spend extravagantly on it. Go all in. Then, for all the other stuff you don't really care about, you cut costs mercilessly. It's all about creating a budget that actually makes you happy, with zero guilt. All right, let's keep going. We're going to take this same proactive mindset and apply it to something that, it terrifies a lot of people: credit. See, most of us play defense when it comes to credit. We're scared of it. But Ramit says, no, you need to play offense. You need to learn the system and master it so you can score what he calls big wins. And these are the key moves that give you huge results from not a lot of effort. And look, your credit score isn't some big secret. It's just a formula. As you can see right here, the biggest chunk, 35%, is just your payment history. In other words, pay your bills on time. That's it. And the next biggest piece is how much you owe. If you just nail those two things, you're already 2/3 of the way to an awesome score. So, okay, who cares? Why does this even matter? Because a good credit score isn't just some random number on a report. It's a tool, and it's a tool that can be worth a ton of money.
Seriously, forget clipping coupons. This is a real big win.
Just how much money are we talking about? Well, check this out. Over the life of a pretty standard mortgage, having an excellent credit score versus just a fair one can save you over, wait for it, $70,000. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. That's a big win. That's way more than you'd ever save by skipping lattes. So we've covered the tactics, right? Automating your money, investing, mastering credit. But what's the whole point? What are we actually working towards here?
Well, the ultimate goal is to completely flip the script. You stop asking, how can I earn more money? And you start asking a much better question. What do I want to do with my life? And how can I use my money to make that happen? It's a total game changer.
And here's the thing. A rich life is different for everybody. It's super personal. It's not about being a billionaire with a yacht. For you, it might just be ordering appetizers at a restaurant without even looking at the price. Or maybe it's traveling for a month every single year. Or simply being able to buy any book you want whenever you want. And that's the real magic of setting up an automated financial system. Once your bills, your savings, your investments are all happening in the background automatically, you're free. You get to stop worrying about the day-to-day stuff and actually live your life outside the spreadsheet.
So, we're going to leave you with that. The single most important question you can ask yourself after all of this. What does your rich life look like? Because once you have that answer, you know exactly where you're going. And now, you have the tools to build the system that'll get you there.